So, welcome back to another episode of Take and Check Within with Patricia podcast. And in today's episode, what we're going to be talking about is how did I become an entrepreneur or how did I become a massage therapist? So, that's basically what the topic is going to be on today. And without further ado, let's jump right into this. So, I will start by saying that I grew up within an entrepreneurial environment. My mom was an entrepreneur. She had her own business and she was more so in the food industry. So her business was more or less, in that space of sale of food and grocery items and all these different things. So I grew up within that setting of being around my mom, who was always an entrepreneur from as long as I knew her as a teen and probably before that, as well. So that being around that, someone or a relative or family who was in business wasn't something I didn't know about. However, growing up and you're around that, you do what you have to do, you're working with your parents in the business. But sometimes, you're just doing it because it's your mom and and that's what you're asked to do. But the passion, is not always there as a teen or as a young person or growing up. So, when you're going to school, you're going to school and all you're thinking about is when you finish school, you're going to start to work and, that's your aspiration. You want to be your own person, you want to be your own adult. And I think that everybody as a teen growing up typically thinks like that. So I was no different. So it was like growing up, you wanted to finish school quickly so that you can start to work. And when you go into school and you're seeing everybody on the streets commuting and and not your friends, but your family members who have their corporate jobs and they're looking all nice in their uniform and the high heel shoes and the handbag, and you're like, just now I'm gonna be doing that too. So so you're planning for when you finish school to be able to step into that corporate world and look nice and look sleek and stuff. So I had my aspirations there as well. So when I finished school, I started to work around the age of 18, yeah, 19 years old. And I got my first job, and it was more so in the public sector, working with a government institution. And when you start, you're glad, you're excited, you're looking nice in your suit and your high heel shoes, your handbag, the whole work's going on. You're feeling like a young executive heading out to work. And it was really, really exciting and nice, as things started, the first couple of months, you're getting up in the morning, 4:30, you're preparing yourself, you're leaving the house by 6 o'clock, sometimes a little before, so that you would be able to commute and reach in time for work because most work picked up by 8 o'clock. So as I did this over a couple of months, I started to become very drained, and I'm like, is this the life of being a young adult? Having to get up every morning as a person, is this the life of being or heading into adulthood, that you have to get up every morning 4:30, 4 o'clock to prepare yourself, get ready so that you can leave the house by 6 o'clock, so that you can get a taxi and you can head to work, you could reach early, you could sleep on your way while you're going in the car. And I was started to be like, this is the life of adults. And I started to be like, oh my God, I do not like this. My body now has to get accustomed to getting up this time every single day. And I dreaded getting up those hours to go to work every single day. And and not somewhere, but I said to myself, I cannot do this for all the days of my life. I cannot see myself working until the age of retirement, getting up every morning, 4 o'clock, 4:30 to prepare myself to hit the roads to go to work. And this is my life for the next couple of years until I retire. And I said that to myself, and I'm like, somewhere, somehow, I would not be doing this 4:30 thing, this life of commuting to work every day. And I said that to myself. I said, I don't know how this is gonna work, but I'm going to be doing something totally different, doing some kind of things for myself. I could set my own time. I could go to work for 9 o'clock. I could go to work for 9:30, and I would be able to get all my sleep and still be able to go to work and produce and do what I have to do and be happy. So I told myself that at that age of 18, 19, and I said, I have to do this for now because it's not like I can say, um, well, I don't want to work anymore, mom, dad, or mother. I don't want to work anymore. I want to just work in your business because as parents, our parents are sending us to school all these years so that we could finish school, get good grades, establish ourselves, and go out there and get a job and come out of their house and be able to fend for ourselves as an adult. So reaching that stage, you can't come back and say, well, I don't want to work. I just want to stay home. So you got to do your thing along the journey. So that's what I did. So for the next couple of years, I stuck with it. I still used to dread getting up in the morning, those hours. And I had no other choice. You just have to do it. But in my back of my mind, in my subconscious, I'm like, this is not going to be my life for the next couple of years until I reach 60 years old. Cannot be doing this. So as I went along in life, I transitioned from working in the public sector in a government establishment to moving to working in the sales industry or the sales sector. And then from there, I transitioned into working in the banking sector where I worked in the bank. And then from the banking sector, I went into working in the beauty industry or the beauty sector. And it was from in the beauty sector is where working in the company that I was working with is where it became more fun and it became more exciting, where I was actually learning so much in terms of business and the ins and outs of things. I was given so much responsibility and was kind of like, put in a place where I could learn a lot of things. And I always say I'm forever grateful for the company and for the CEO for just the opportunity to learn underneath him and to gather the knowledge that I have, in terms of business skills and how things work. So working in the beauty industry, I learned so much skills in that. I was managing a store here in Trinidad, and I was also in Tobago managing an outlet there. And I would be back and forth, I would be going to customs, I would be seeing how it's like to clear cargo and to bring in import goods and and all that good stuff. So my journey of learning business was really from the working in the beauty industry. So yeah, everything started from working in the beauty business that really gave me that hands-on skill and that know-how in terms of, a more business sense per se. Even though I grew up, with my mom who had her own business, it was still different because at that time I wasn't really into the whole knacks of business per se because that was my mother's thing. She liked the food industry and that wasn't really my thing. I know I was just being of help more or less, I would say, because that's my mother and sometimes that's what you gotta do. But it wasn't really like something that I really tried to learn or understand. And then it's totally different too when you're working with a small business and now you transition and you're working in a company where it's a medium-sized business. It's a large business and they have more systems and stuff in place, which is different from most small businesses back then. It may not have certain systems. You just do your thing, you buy, you sell, you make a profit, that kind of thing. So I really, really learned a lot from there. And then one morning I got up, thought I would say come back as I want to be able to make my own hours and I don't want to be able to be commuting to work 8 o'clock. Although I totally enjoyed working and doing what I was doing, I just started to get that thought again of, I want to be able to go to work for 9 o'clock sometimes, 5:30. I want to be able to leave early when I want. I want. So that thought came back in my mind. And then I got like a thought that, maybe I should go study something in therapy. And I said to myself, therapy? And I never thought about that before. But the interesting thing is, prior to that, before, during the time when I was working in the banking sector, and my mom at that time working in that industry, she had an injury. And it was an injury with her back that she never took care of. And, one morning she got up and she couldn't walk. So she lost all mobility in her legs, where she couldn't come off the bed, she couldn't stand, there was no strength, there was no movement, there was nothing. And that stemmed from an injury that she would have had before that she wasn't taking care of, and then it just kind of like collapsed that morning. So working in the bank at that time, my life was just go to work, to home, to church, and that was it. And not that she intentionally put anything on me, but as a daughter, you want to do the best that you can for your mother. So, you would prioritize certain things. So my life was just like that when that happened to her. And being in business, that was her thing. Everything came on hold in terms of the business, because here it was, she was no longer able to work in the business because she couldn't walk, she wasn't mobile. So everything kind of shut down at that point in time. So I of myself was, working in the bank, as I said, and we were advised, that therapy would work to help bring back restoration to her mobility, or give her back her mobility. So we took her to therapy, and more or less I would take her. I had my vehicle as well, so I was part of my responsibility. I took it upon myself was to take her to therapy, and we would go to therapy. I would take her to a chiropractor in Aruka, and doing therapy, she regained her mobility back again after a year of consistent therapy and body work and all of that, and she started to walk again. So I had the experience of actually being around someone very close to me, very dear to me, and seeing what, happens, or what someone goes through when they cannot walk. And remember, I knew my mom walking all her life, and then to not be able to walk, and then to see the limitations, and then you have to help her with everything. And there was a lot of adjustments that had to be made to accommodate her. So my experience was very, very hands on, and it was an experience in itself. So when I got that thought to go study something in therapy, it never even dawned on me, even at the time when I used to take her for therapy, that maybe this is something that I want to do. Maybe I see how people, my mother is not able to walk, and I am seeing how she's getting back her mobility. Maybe this is something that I want to do. Maybe this is something that I should get into as a profession. Nope, 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 nope. The thought never crossed my mind. The thought never intrigued me. I never dawned on it. I never sat and fantasized about it. All I used to do is take her to therapy. I'm seeing the results. I'm seeing her getting better. But it never actually dawned on me, Patricia, go do this or study this. I was working in the bank, and I was really happy with my work and my job at that time, and I was cool, but I was always the type of person growing up, just very always nurturing and caring. My grandmother had diabetes, and my family has that line of it, and extent, and I was always the one who would be rubbing or massaging her foot, or cutting her toenails, or just always trying to be doing things on that nurturing side. So it was just always, I was just always like that, and to me it was just like that's my personality. So that morning I got up and I was like, go study something in therapy. And I was like, therapy? And then I said, okay. And I decided to, do some research and try to see what in therapy that I can do. And then I always knew about the chiropractor. So, that would be the first thing I started to research. And in doing my research, I realized that what could have been studied here, what it is that you couldn't study here. And I just had to keep narrowing down, what I wanted to do. And then I was working as well. And then some of the things that I was seeing, like physical therapy, and chiropractic work and the different requirements. And some of them you had to do full time. And, so you're looking at the whole dynamics of it and you're researching. I was researching, like, what is the benefits and all these different things. And then when I keep narrowing it down, just to fit within my schedule and what I could have done, massage therapy seemed to be the more ideal. And, just studying it and reading up on it and doing Google searches and YouTube video watching, I realized, okay, I think I can do this. And I just enrolled into the course and stuff and I did it. And that's basically how I became a massage therapist. So when I look back at my life, I always say, God always has a hand into where He wants you to be. And because the history of my life, I grew up within an entrepreneurial environment. That was somebody very close to me. And then I had the experience of knowing what it is hands on to actually care for someone or to be around someone who is limited in mobility, who has no mobility, and see them down and then come back up. And I looked at that and I was like, wow, your life is sometimes these things that happen to you in life, or the chart of your life is always leading to something. Nowhere in my mind, as I said, the thought to be a chiropractor or anything in therapy ever crossed my mind. It was, and I went full force, jumped in and did the program and everything like that, and that's how I became a massage therapist. So yeah, that's just the story of how I got into this profession, how I became an entrepreneur, how I started my own business. And when I look back, I kind of sometimes smile and I said, at that young age, 18, 19, I said, I cannot be doing this all my life, traveling, commuting to work 4:30, getting up 4:30 in the morning and having to leave home 6 o'clock to go to work for 8 o'clock. It was just something that I didn't want to do. And when I look now, I see that as what I said I didn't want in terms of not wanting to have to do that. I got it because I can now, I don't have to commute those hours. I can set my own hours. So when I can see clients, when I don't have to see clients, if I want to leave early at a certain time, I have the flexibility to do that. And that is, that is just like, a bow in itself, tied with a gift, because it was something that I desired. I put it in my subconscious very, very, very early. And then I am actually living out that which I desired, So I like the fact that, flexibility, I think, was always part of my nature. I always just wanted to do something that I like being on my feet. I like moving around. So that's why when I was in the beauty industry, it was so much more exciting and nice for me rather than having to sit all day, because I was always moving. I was always dealing with customers. I was always up and about. And that was why I kind of probably loved or gravitated to that more. And then I came into this business and, it has its flexibilities and it has me setting my own time. I don't have to get up 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock. I can get up 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and I know that I still can see a client for 9 o'clock and I can be very pleased. So that is basically how I became an entrepreneur, how I became a massage therapist, how, life has that way of doing that thing where you really sometimes don't know what your path and the experiences is going to take you to. And my experiences took me from all the things that I experienced, not having a clue that I would end up where I am today. And that's basically what I wanted to share with everyone today. So I hope that this was, you learned a little bit more about me. You understand why I became an entrepreneur, how I became an entrepreneur. So until our next episode, I look forward to building and growing with you along your journey to optimal wellness and becoming the best version of yourself. And my sincere hope is if you can see what I see, that you can change whatever you set your mind to do in your health or whatever else or whatever challenges you might be facing. So stay well, and my one phrase is it is possible. So have a good day and God bless. Bye bye.